Why did he want the files to not come out this badly? Why? Just tell me why.
Why do you always fall for this stuff is the bigger question.
Happening again. This is Russia, Ukraine, everything.
I don't think this is the end of John. I am not.
Nobody thinks it's the end of Donald Trump. It could be the end for the Democrats. You're watching it happen in real time. I love how you say, you look at Akeem Jeffrey. Oh, it's just a fundraising email. As if it were a Republican, your party, the media would not interpret it in the worst light.
That's Greg Gutfeld expertly dismantling Jessica Tarlov's entire fantasy about the Epstein files being a Trump problem. Instead, it's once again Democrats getting torched by their own receipts. Funny how all of the liberals who pretended to care about transparency are suddenly panicking now that Trump's delivering it. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like Democrats finally pulled the pin on their own grenade with these Epstein files, because they spent months claiming Trump was hiding something, only for Trump to sign the Transparency Act and force every document into daylight. Now they're scrambling as their own connections pour out. Here's Gutfeld laying it all out for a speechless Jessica Tarlov.
For example, it's amazing how the brilliant Jasmine Crockett thinks there's only one Jeffrey Epstein, and that one Jeffrey Epstein somehow gave money to Lee Zeldin. No, I know this is hard to believe. There is more than one Jeffrey Epstein. Just as there are more than one Jesse Watters, but only one Greg Gutfeld. He was a doctor who gave money, but she knew that, unless you think she is retarded. And I don't think she is. I just think she's deliberately pretended that she didn't know there might be another one. So when I talk about this is what I say is the big worry about this thing, and I'm for the release of them. You look at how these idiots are going to try to interpret everything in the worst possible way. So if you're caught in that net and your name is Jeffrey Epstein or your name is Jesse Watters, something that could be easily checked out. I'm not saying you're in the files. I'm just saying there's a high likelihood you will be. They will be extremely malicious in their interpretation. So we have to be on our toes. I do think that, what's his name, Galloway? He's right. Be careful what you wish for, because when something seems too easy, it's a trap. And I think you just handed Trump a paintball gun, and you put targets on the Democrats, because Epstein, I think 80 to 90% of his donations were all to Democrats. Epstein despised Trump. He was the only elite that wouldn't play ball with him. So, and then you look at like Larry Summers, you look at the, what is a billionaire? I can't remember. Reid Hoffman, you look at Bill Clinton, you look at Akeem, you look at the Virgin Island lady. It's only begun, and it looks bad for you guys. I think that this is going to be a fun winter for Trump, because once he goes in on this thing, he doesn't come out. He figured it out. He knows exactly how, when you guys bring it up, it's always going to go back to the Democrats every single time. And pretty soon you're just going to say, why did we do this? This is just like Russian collusion, but it's worse because now it ends with a huge, huge pile of mud all over us. The Russian collusion thing just went away. You guys were lucky you didn't go to jail.
You know, the entire Democrat narrative was built on the idea that these files would finish Trump, and instead they exposed their own donors, insiders, and representatives. Larry Summers asking Epstein for dating advice, Hakeem Jeffries soliciting cash post-conviction, and Stacey Plaskett getting programmed mid-hearing shows the real pattern. I mean, when over 90% of Epstein's political donations went to Democrats, including the DNC keeping $32,000 even after the scandals, it becomes obvious why they wanted selective leaks instead of full disclosure. Trump blew that strategy up by forcing full transparency they avoided for years under Biden. The hypocrisy is staggering, and the media would be screaming nonstop if any Republican had these ties.
She's the smartest person they could find. So they sent her to do this. And the reason is this, because they are desperate to make this a story about Trump and Epstein. And the only thing we found out in the last week is that it's a story about Democrats and Epstein.
Correct.
You got Larry Summers asking for dating advice from Epstein. You got Hakeem Jeffries trying to raise money from Epstein. You got Plaskett being programmed by Epstein. They lost the narrative, so they sent out their smartest person, Jasmine Crockett, to try to reset the narrative, and it blew up in their face. They may regret going down this road.
By the way,
I think Democrats strategically may have never believed that Republicans would do this. And
they may be careful what they wish for here, because we're already finding out that Epstein was in touch with Democrat members of Congress in 2019. We know Larry Summers, the president of Harvard, Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary, was soliciting dating advice from Epstein. We know he was trying to fundraise with Hakeem Jeffries. I think we're going to find out the Epstein political story has everything to do with Democrats and nothing to do with Donald Trump, and that could blow up in their face.
You know, Democrats spent days insisting the Epstein files were going to crush Trump, and instead their smartest messenger, Jasmine Crockett, went on CNN and embarrassed the entire party. I mean, she tried accusing Republicans like Lee Zeldin of taking money from Epstein, only to find out she was talking about a completely different Jeffrey Epstein. Caitlin Collins basically had to walk her through her mistake while she desperately tried to backpedal live on air, which only served to further highlight how inept and corrupt the entire Democrat Party really is.
What does it say about Donald Trump that of all the people he's associated with over his entire career, this was the one guy he cut ties with over 20 years ago? And he said, I don't want to have anything to do with this guy right here. He didn't talk to him or ever see him again because he knew what Epstein was up to. And everybody in Palm Beach knew what Epstein was up to. It was an open secret, Jessica. He was trying to steal masseuses from Mar-a-Lago. He caught him cold, and he said, get out of here, because Trump's smart, because he's a good brand ambassador, and he knows Epstein is bad for business. No person wants anything to do with a guy named Jeffrey Epstein, except Democrats, who, after the conviction for fooling around with a 14-year-old, were on his plane, or on his island, or asking him for money, or at his house. Jessica, there is a photograph of Bill Clinton getting a back massage by a young woman during a layover on the Lolita Express. Is there any evidence that Donald Trump ever got a massage, ever? Jeffrey Epstein, in these files, said Donald Trump never got a massage.
Oh.
And if Donald Trump actually was being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein and he had the goods, why is Jeffrey Epstein texting with a congresswoman during a hearing? Ask her this question. Why wouldn't he just drop the hammer right there? The president's at the White House. Yeah. Drop the hammer. What's he fooling around with this congresswoman for? If he has it, lay it out. He didn't have it. Trump was the one who arrested him. Trump was the one that put him behind bars. You guys are the one taking his money. Same with Weinstein. Same with Diddy. Same with Cosby. All these guys want his money. And they don't care what he does with little girls. Because as long as the money's flowing, they're okay with it. And think about the guys you build these anti-Trump cases around, Jessica. Convicted felons, porn stars, and pedophiles. You think this is going to take out Donald?
Watters is absolutely right here. Trump cut Epstein off decades ago and even banned him from Mar-a-Lago, while Democrats treated Epstein like a VIP donor pipeline. I mean, pointing out that Clinton rode on the Lolita Express and got back massages from victims says everything the establishment media pretends not to know. The blackmail myth makes no sense. If Epstein had dirt on Trump, why spend time texting Plaskett during a hearing instead of using it? Trump emerges untouched. No island visits, no favors, no evidence. Meanwhile, Democrats are drowning in their own receipts, and the Transparency Act Trump signed proves he had nothing to hide. But let me know what you think. Did Democrats completely miscalculate by demanding the Epstein files only for Trump to expose their own connections instead? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Bye.